All right, guys, how is everyone doing today? Hopefully, you had a great weekend. We're starting the week off right. Happy Monday morning to you guys. Great show. Very, very informative show. We cannot wait. I had Lauren Murphy on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and you know, life goes, life gets busy, and we keep on turning. And Lauren Murphy had nothing but the great things to say to a nutritionist and about how that's really helping her getting into diet and making weight and making mixed martial arts weight for the UFC. So, you know, she threw out his name and I really got into it. And I looked him up on Instagram. Check him out on Instagram, guys. Dr. Capodaglio. I think I'm going to try it. So it's Dr. Capago. Capago, we're going to try. We're going to bring him on. He's going to teach us. He's a lot smarter than I. So, Doctor, how you doing, my friend?
I want to say buongiorno in Italian then, because that's where I'm from. Buongiorno.
Right.
Thanks for having me. I love this.
Absolutely. We are so excited. We love the poster behind you. Yeah, so much. First and foremost, how did you get into mixed martial arts? A lot of UFC fighters we see, and I definitely want to, your vlogs were great. I got all into it. I went into a wormhole just watching your stuff. How did you get into, being connected with UFC fighters?
Well, in the beginning, I shouldn't have done this. I come from a family that is in the pharmaceutical business in Italy, back in Italy. Okay. And I always wanted to be an athlete, like a varsity athlete. I used to play water polo. It's just my family didn't like the idea and they really fight against me being in sports. Turns out a few years later, I got my PharmD and I realized I could help people, could help athletes. And for that reason, I quit my job in the, family company and I joined the university again. I earned another master's degree in human nutrition in Italy. Wow. And then I moved to the US and my first athlete was Marvin Vettori, another Italian. He lives in Huntington Beach, California.
Right.
And then, that's the good thing that I love about the States. So word of mouth, that's very important. An athlete likes you, he refers you to another person and to another person. And that's how now I'm here in the States now for 2 years. Good. And I'm very happy with my roster of, I have 4 UFC athletes now. So
Right.
Yeah.
A great starter roster, all 4 great athletes for one. 2 is, so, okay, let's kind of rewind a little bit. So when the pandemic hit 4 months ago, I think one of your vlogs, it was very, a lot about that Jacksonville fight, a lot, kind of the pandemic. How did you feel that was what was going on? I would assume you have family or loved ones over, back home. How were you dealing through a pandemic?
Well, actually, when the pandemic exploded, we were not in Jacksonville. Marvin and we just landed in London because we were supposed to fight initially Darren Stewart in London. Right. And that was March. And then they canceled the event. And because our status is related to a work visa, we had to go back to the United States before they closed the border. So we just... Let's say it was 4 a.m. when we got the call that the event was canceled. And at, I think, 10 a.m., I was at Heathrow taking my flights to go back to California because that's where my company is. That's where I'm working. So fast forward to May, we had that Carl Robertson fight and for Marvin Vettori. And then we have Giga Chikadze that was supposed to fight another guy. The guys we went to Jacksonville, and that's where the whole drama, let's call it the hotel lobby drama happened. And that's it. Giga actually, so we know what happened with Marvin's opponent. That's it. We all know. But what happened to Giga is the same thing. So his opponent had issues related, I guess, to weight cut. And he pulled out 24 hours before weigh-ins. But Giga was fortunate. Giga Chikadze was fortunate enough to find another opponent that actually fought last week in the UFC.
Again. Irvin Rivera.
Exactly. So he got
Yep.
his UFC contract right after that. So Giga was lucky. Marvin was not as much, but then Marvin had the chance 1 month later to fight Robertson. So
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
And then I thought you put it out there on Instagram or another social media platform that so far every fighter that you have worked with has won. Some of them have multiple wins. You haven't had a loss yet in the UFC. Is that right?
I mean, in the past we had loss, yeah, for sure. But right now I'm on a, let's say, on a 10 fight win streak. So
10 fight.
yeah, so
That's
we're
good.
like, yeah, 10-0 in the past year. So that is good. I love it. I love
Really
it.
good. Really good. How attached do you get? I do it, with talking to fighters daily, weekly. You start talking to them, when they're going to get ready for a fight or right afterwards. How attached do you get to the fighters that you work with?
A lot. Like we have good relationships, but that might be misleading. Like you really need to put an effort on dividing the professional relationship to the personal relationships,
Right.
because sometimes you need to take some position. They are, let's say, acceptable from a professional standpoint, but maybe not as acceptable from a like friendship standpoint. So I'm the type of professional that when you're paying me, I'm gonna do things for your own good, and I'm going to tell you things maybe that you don't want to hear. But that's because I respect your, let's say, financial effort,
Right.
your trust that you put in me, and you pay me, you hire me because you think I have a point of view that is unique on the matter of performance. Then I feel obliged to give you. I feel, very. How do you say? Yeah, I feel like the only way I should do things is telling you what is good for your career, for your fight. So that is this is the tricky part. And also, I'm 31, so I'm around the same age of most of my athletes. So being the same age, you kind of it's not the mix, kind of make things harder because you really tend to create friendship with all of them.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So yeah,
Um,
but boundaries are important, I believe.
yeah. Yeah, uh, talk about that. I love that you said that. Sometimes tough love, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what to say and how to say it, or every athlete thinks they're going to make weight. Every athlete thinks, "Hey, we're fine, we're fine." But how is it to, yeah, tough love and to say, "Hey, you got to do this weekend," or "We're 2 weeks out. I'm not exactly happy with you." Is there a fine line, or is it tough to communicate with some of your athletes that way?
Yeah, it is, but having several athletes, you learn how to do it properly, and
Right.
you need to, let's say, customize the way you speak to each athlete, also in relationship to his or her personality. So it's there's actually a very interesting book that I want to suggest to all the listeners to this podcast. It's called The Art of Coaching, I believe, by Brett Bartholomew. That was really offered me a lot of insights about this thing, because it's an art. You can know the science. There are very good scientists out there, but I don't think there are a lot of people that can translate science into the practical environment of preparing a fight with a mixed martial artist.
Right, right, right. That's
So
very, very true. So one thing what I was thinking was when you working with athletes, working with mixed martial artists, do you think that in the future you would like to or love to work with soccer players, or you're out there in LA, so of course the Lakers are huge and the Dodgers are huge out there. Is this something that you would love to work with multiple athletes in multiple different sports, or you're very really working hard and concentrating on MMA and UFC athletes and the fighters, and especially with the weight cuts and everything of that nature?
no, actually, it's still, how do you say, in the works in America. Like we're working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I cannot talk about that, but I'm definitely putting effort in trying to get into those sports as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
American football,
Right.
basketball, and hockey, especially. Those are the one that I feel
Okay.
like I will do very well in. And I've been working in the past year also with a wrestler, Nathan Tomasello, that is one-time NCAA champion and four-time All-American. And he just started to work as an assistant coach at Duke University.
Oh,
So
beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah. So I'm open. That's the way it started. I started with MMA, and I believe that's the best school because there's not going to be any sport from a nutritional standpoint that is going to be as hard as MMA. So
Right.
yeah, I feel like when that opportunity it is going to present, I'm going to be ready with my background in the nutrition for MMA athletes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you think there's athletes out there, even championship caliber fighters, different UFC type of fighters that wouldn't work with you well, wouldn't be someone that you think you can work with on a nutrition level or listening level or a communication level? Do you think there's definitely not a type of fighter, but do you think that sometimes fighters or you could work with easier, and then there's some that won't work with you well that you would almost pass on, or just you don't want to waste your time or your effort with them if they're not going to listen to you in a way?
Absolutely, yes, for
Yeah.
sure. There are some type of personality I match more with. I happen to really like a lot the wrestler mentality.
Right.
So there are a lot of athletes in the UFC that have a wrestling background, and they're like great listeners. But that is not like it doesn't mean that every wrestler is like that. I'm saying
Right.
I work with Nathan Tomasello, and he's really like what you can say a soldier. But my four athletes in the UFC,
Mhm.
so Marvin Vettori, Lauren Murphy, Giga Chikadze, and the new one that just signed with the UFC last week, Uroš Medic, on the Dana White Contender Series.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they're like they put real trust in me, especially Lauren, when we started to work together, she basically didn't have any reference on me. Yeah, she had a referral, but that was it. And it was before I won like this ADCC with Augusto Mendes Tanquinho, before Marvin was in the top 15. So these people, like, they don't have a wrestling background, but so far they were amazing in trusting me and listening to me, and I guess it paid off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 10 fights in a row, 10 wins in a row. Just winning on the Contender Series. Were you out there in Vegas with them, or were you watching it, being as nervous? I love the Contender Series. We just had Laura Senko on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we talked about there's nothing like it. And I don't know how much of football that you watch or know of, but it's almost like the Super Bowl and the draft all in one night. It's the biggest match in the whole world. And in that same night, Dana White could give them a contract too. It's like there's nothing like it on the world. It's a pretty amazing show, I think.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So actually, with the new very restrictive COVID rules that the
Mhm.
UFC has, I wasn't able to be with the athletes, especially like last week with Uroš Medic. I couldn't be with him, but that doesn't stop me. So if I'm not there with them, then we FaceTime a lot. So the whole time where he
Right.
was making weight, we were on FaceTime, and I was guiding him because I like to be present.
Right, right.
It's important to do that the whole camp, and especially in the final stages. So no, I wasn't there, and yeah, I really I really like to compartmentalize the area. So I will never ask one of my athletes, to bring me as a cornerman, because just cornermen are allowed. But the contribution that I can bring into the fight is very little, So
Right.
it's about being selfless. You put yourself, on the side. You try to do your best remotely, but then the athlete has his 3 coaches that can give him like real insights on the fight, and he can benefit more from that.
Wow. So with weight cutting, almost like a 2-pronged question here. When you see another athlete, another fighter, even one that's, fighting against your fighter or just any other random fighter on a weigh-in, one, do you see, like, can you tell by looking at him, hey, something's not right here. They should have maybe did more of this or more of this, and different weight cut or more different eating, nutrients of that nature. And 2 is there a fighter that's out there that you've seen, you're like, wow, like a beautiful fighter inside the octagon. I saw him, how he weighed and how his body type is. I would love to work with him. Like, I would love to have him for a weight cut, a weight camp, and really work with them to kind of throw your secret sauce on there to really take his, style and take his skill level that night to the next level.
Well, okay. So regarding the first one, if you're into the MMA world, especially in the nutrition world of MMA, you know who are the good guys, the skilled guys to help athletes. Like, who are the top nutritionists, and who are, I'm not gonna call out anyone because it's not my style. But you also know there are some people in our world, they're not good. Like they bring a lot of pseudoscience. So if I know that one of my athletes is fighting one of those athletes, the one with the bro science guy behind them, I mean, it doesn't mean necessarily that mine is gonna win, but that helps. So we kind of know. And also there are some people, they just think they know enough to make it themselves, and that is obviously, that's a strategy that works until it works. It doesn't work anymore, So that is a thing. And regarding your second question, that's also part of my personal mental approach to the game. I am not going to give you any name of active athletes. That's something I thought about it in the past. Even, let's say, with the NFL athletes that I met, or NBA athletes, I don't take picture. I don't talk about athletes that are not mine, because in my mind, I always think, what if tomorrow one of their opponents hires me? It will not make my client feel good if I posted that my let's say my idol was one that is guarding in an NBA game. So it's a matter of mentality. But talking about retired fighters, I mean, let me think. Well, probably maybe, who knows, like, if I mean, obviously, come on, how can you not say George St. Pierre?
Right.
It is, because that's the type of mentality that brings just gold. Like, that is the winner mentality,
Some think the greatest of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And in other sports, I mean, a lot of crazy things happened since I moved to the States. So last year, I had the chance to have lunch with Tim Grover, which was the strength and conditioning coach for Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant. And I mean, we talk a lot about these things: mentality, approach to the game. And I mean, how can you not say, I would have loved to work with MJ, but
unbelievable. You hear stories still to this day. He's been retired for 20, 25 years, and they had that great show on ESPN, The Last Dance, and his work ethic and what he did on days on. And he's winning championship after championship, but still the first guy in the gym, last one to leave and putting weight on his body, good weight on his body.
Yeah.
Great stories about MJ.
Yeah.
So appreciate your time. Love your time. I love, talking with new people and people teaching us too here at Fight Finesse. We appreciate your time. Couple of last things though. When was it? When was that moment that yourself thought, yeah, mixed martial arts and UFC, this is an angle I want to go to. Were you a fan of UFC before working with the fighters? Have you always been a fan of mixed martial arts? When was that, initial light bulb moment of this is something I want to do, connecting with the UFC?
Okay, so yeah, I started actually with an Italian forum online, back in 2010, I believe.
Right.
Because I guess I was good enough in pharmacy school to have a lot of free time as I was living in and going to college.
Okay.
So, and I love that. I was watching videos of Pride on YouTube, and then I joined this forum.
Yeah.
And from there, I guess I was one of those that was always posting. And then the owner of the website, he asked me also, because they were writing articles, and then I started to write like articles. They were actually translation of American articles, because in Italy not a lot of people know English. So that's the way it started. And then like that's like destiny. Sometimes it's just crazy. Or I don't know what it is, just the way things happen. But in that forum, there was the play-by-play announcer of the UFC in the Italian. Italian. It was on Sky Sports back in the days.
Okay.
Or Fox Sports. And so he reached out to me through DM saying that I was saying very interesting things. And then he started his own, let's say, MMA website or newspaper at the time. So we're talking about 7-8 years ago. And he asked me if I wanted to go to local events, so Italian local events. So I went, and I'm going to tell you what happened in reality. So I was just a kid, a college kid, while the other guys were all like, grown men. And basically no one was caring about what I was doing. I was there with my piece of paper, my recorder and my pen, and I was like taking notes, and no one was caring about me in that event. And there was another kid that was competing in that MMA local event in Italy, and no one was caring about him. Like it was alone. This Italian kid coming from London, he was on a sofa, on a chair, all alone, and no one was paying attention to him. But I knew who the kid was, and you know who the kid was? It was Marvin Vettori.
Wow.
So, and then I'm like, this kid is there alone, and I'm here alone. So I guess I'm just gonna talk to him. And then we started to talk, and I liked that it was so driven. And then it was back in the days, and so I follow him. He won that fight. Obviously, it was like 1-0, 2-0, something like that. I'm like, I mean, man, I believe like you have the skills, and we could do something together. So, like people think like UFC fighters. You get to work with UFC fighter like they're falling from heaven. It's not like that. Sometimes, like, if you feel like, for me, like we grew together. We were friends. We were just friends at the very beginning. So we were just two kids that really had, like, I guess, goals. We didn't even know what we were gonna do in the future, but that's the way we started. And 2-0, and now, co-main event in the UFC together. We both moved to California, but that's a real story. It's not like romance or fiction, or it's the real life, guys. So yeah,
unbelievable, great story, unbelievable. Yep, Marvin with a great first round win. Huge future. Like top 15, top 10. Do you know when? if you had to guess, when do you think he'll be back in the octagon? I know I think he's even thrown out a couple big names, guys who just fought a couple weeks ago. Chris Weidman, he just got a big win. He's a very, very big name in the sport. I would love to see him versus Darren Till. That would be another unbelievable great matchup. But I see nothing but really, really big things for Marvin as well.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin now is in Italy, actually, flew back to Italy.
Okay.
It was a very demanding semester for him, like here. He actually, I mean, he talked briefly about that. And I don't want to like say like, you know, trying to play the victim role. But 3 days before the first fight against Carl Robertson, his granddad died. And he decided not to go to the funeral because he wanted to fight. So you know those things, those happenings, they take a toll on you. For sure. So now he's finally back to Italy. I think he's gonna stay there for a couple of weeks. Then I believe he can come back. And regarding the names, I would love Darren Till. What I believe, I also like to be rational. And I believe so Marvin, like, just sorry for the bad words, but Marvin is just a big pain in the ass, because I believe he's a promising athlete, he's talented, but he doesn't have the recognition yet that worth the risk for big names to take him. That is what I think. So Darren Till now is like, he's a very popular fighter, and why would he risk, you know, against Marvin? So I would love that fight, but I don't believe it's going to happen. But that kid Marvin is like, trash talking is so never ending. So that I believe sooner or later something is gonna take that fight. The only one that I'm telling you is not gonna happen unless it's for a belt, it's Kelvin Gastelum. So that is not going to happen because they train together at King's MMA. So, I mean, I believe they both agree that unless it's going to be for the title, that is not going to happen. But other names, he would like to fight again with Antonio Carlos Jr., actually, Carlos Zapato. There is below him on the rankings, but who cares, because he wants to avenge his first loss in the UFC. He likes Ian Yanish, but I mean, I don't know. That's something that, you know, it's very interesting. Who else do I like? I mean, I don't believe. Sorry?
Jack Hermanson?
You know, you want to know something very interesting about Hermanson and Marvin? So that's in Italy. We have this amazing promotion. It was called Venator. It's called Venator, still exists actually. Venator FC. And in their event in May 2016, in the same card, there were both Marvin and Hermanson, and they fought. It's not they fought each other, but they fought their last fight before both joining in the UFC. And in the same card, there was another guy. It's called Emil Mick Valhalla, that he knocked out Toquinho at the time. Do you remember the leglock artist Toquinho?
Yes,
So he knocked him out. So 3 people from that event went straight to the UFC right after.
Wow.
So talking about Hermanson, yeah, that's a good fight. Those are like 2 solid and I believe underrated fighters. So they're both amazing. Hermanson, tough guy, like big respect. But now after he leglock Kelvin, I believe he's looking for something. Yeah, you know. So, but I would love that.
Yeah, but I do. I think Marvin is an absolute problem. I think Marvin is only got really, really big things ahead of him. And like you said, he's aggressive. He likes to talk, and the UFC loves that. The UFC, I think, I was big fans of Marvin as well. Almost last question. I almost didn't want to ask you this in a way. Do you think the Jacksonville incident had to do a little bit with his grandfather, and that's why maybe he was so amped up to fight in a way?
No, not at all. And I'm telling you more about that because I really like radical transparency. So like we don't have anything to hide. If you guys maybe don't remember, but in, I believe it was September or October 2019, we were in Vancouver and Marvin was supposed to fight Andrew Sanchez. Okay. And then Andrew Sanchez on Wednesday of fight week, we were all there. So we have people flying from Italy. We flew all the way from California, and he pulled out because of a pink eye. So he had this pink eye and he had to pull out. I'm telling you, and it's not like, is what happened. So Marvin was so mad that that afternoon, that Wednesday afternoon, is like he stayed the whole afternoon in the lobby of the hotel, like sipping tea, because he was waiting for, and it's not like, you know, it's not in, I don't know how to say, it's like, I don't want you guys to interpret this in a, like a criminal way, you know. It's nothing criminal. It just, like, Marvin is a country boy. He comes from up from the mountain. So don't think about these stereotypes about, you know, mafia or this and that. But he's a country boy. So he's going to tell you what he thinks in your face. It's you know, it's the way when you come from there, you just like to be the animosity and this and that. So he was waiting there, sipping his coffee or his tea, I don't remember, or probably like since the fight was off, he was eating also a little bit more. But if Andrew Sanchez would have been there, he would have confronted him in the same way he did to Robertson. It's nothing like people talk about it was staged or anything.
Oh, we got you.
Oh, here I am. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Okay.
So it's just the way Marvin is. Like it's really, you need to see, like he's just a guy that, yeah, for sure. Now he lives in Huntington Beach with the surf and the beach and the sun, but he's he's proudly from that area. It's called Trentino, from Italy, in the very up north, very close to Austria. And he comes from a village of 5,000 people. So, you know, that's the way he grew up.
What a story. What a story. 30 minutes went by like that. So quick. Beautiful stories. The knowledge that you bring to the sport. I would love for you to any kind of websites or any kind of, you know, where people can contact you. A lot of fighters listen to this and watch this. And, you know, like you said, it just one thing leads to another. So I love any kind of information you would want to give to the people. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I use mainly my Instagram account, which is DrCapodaglio, Dr. Capodaglio. And yeah, I mean, if you're an athlete that is willing to put on hard work, I'm all about that. So feel free to reach out and join Marvin Vettori, the great Lauren Murphy. She's I don't know, I hope she's gonna get that Calvillo fight that she wants very bad. Yeah. Then we have Giga Chikadze that is 3-0 in the UFC, and the new sign Uros Medic. So yeah, so follow me on Instagram, and from there I usually put out contents. You know, I'm gonna start a Patreon page soon, but yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me. I had a blast. You know,
likewise, we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot, learned a lot. Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll talk again. We'll talk soon. We really did. I really do thank you for your time, and yeah, we had a blast.
Okay, thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Doctor.